The hallway buzzed with the usual chaos between classes. Students pressed against lockers, laughter spilling from little groups, the echo of sneakers squeaking against the polished floor. You stood with your friends, clutching your notebook, smiling at some joke Emma had just made. That's when you felt it. The sudden hush in your chest, the weight of someone's eyes burning into you. You didn't even have to turn to know who it was. Jungkook. He moved through the crowd like the world parted for him, dressed in black jeans and a loose white shirt that stretched across his shoulders. He didn't belong here. He never did. While everyone else looked like students, Jungkook carried himself like he had already lived a dozen lives outside these walls. "You are in?" His voice cut through the chatter, low and direct, like he wasn't calling you, but claiming you. Your friends exchanged glances, whispering under their breaths because everyone knew. No one ever understood what exactly was between you and him, but they saw enough to gossip. You forced a small laugh. Hey? He didn't bother with pleasantries. His eyes, dark, unreadable, locked on yours. "Do you have any classes left?" You blinked, caught off guard. "Classes? Uh, you glanced at your friends. "Not really, I just—" "Good." His tone left no room for negotiation. "I need you right now." The way he said it, quiet, steady, laced with something heavy, made your breath catch. "Right now?" you repeated, partly shocked, partly defensive. His jaw tightened, impatience flickering across his face. He took a small step closer, his presence overwhelming. "Yes, now." You hugged your notebook to your chest. "What's going on? You can't just—" "I can." His gaze softened just slightly, but the intensity never faded. "Come with me." And with that, he turned, expecting you to follow. No explanations, no excuses. And despite every warning in your head, you did. You and Jungkook were never supposed to be anything serious. He was your senior at university, sharp, confident, and always the one people whispered about. You'd seen him around, admired him from a distance, but never thought he'd notice you. Until that one night. Someone suggested truth or dare, and for most of the night, it had been harmless. Silly questions, stupid dares, until the bottle pointed at him. Until someone smirked and said, "I dare you to Y in." You'd laughed nervously, about to protest, but then Jungkook leaned across the circle, his hand cupping your jaw with an ease that made your heart stutter, and kissed you. Not some awkward, meaningless dare. It was slow, deliberate, the kind of kiss that stole the air from your lungs. That was the moment everything changed. What followed love wasn't romance. It was a deal. No feelings, no dating anyone else, just each other when you needed. A friends with benefits arrangement sealed with a smirk and a warning in Jungkook's voice. If you catch feelings, it's over. And maybe you believed you could handle it. Maybe you believed you could separate your heart from his touch. But rules were easy to make when you weren't pressed. Jungkook's apartment was everything you expected from him. Spacious, modern, too clean for someone who claimed he didn't care much about appearances. The high-rise view spilled city lights through the wide glass windows, painting the walls with neon glow. You sat on the kitchen counter, legs swinging idly, pretending not to be nervous as he leaned against the opposite counter, watching you in silence. He always did this. Looked at you like he was trying to read a book only he had written. "Why did you drag me here?" you asked, breaking the tension. Instead of answering, he moved forward, slow and deliberate, until he stood between your legs. His hands pressed to the counter on either side of you, caging you in. Your pulse jumped. "Jungkook, do you remember the first time we—" he asked suddenly, his voice low. You blinked at him, thrown off. "At the club. Truth or dare?" A small smirk tugged at his lips. "Exactly. A dare." His thumb brushed lightly against your thigh, his gaze never leaving yours. "You're good at those." You swallowed hard, your breath catching in your throat. "What are you getting at?" He leaned closer, so close his nose brushed yours, his voice dipping into a whisper. "I have a new dare for you tonight." Your chest tightened, heat pooling low in your stomach. "What's that?" you asked carefully. His smirk deepened, though his eye stayed dark and serious. Try not to get pregnant. Your breath hitched, your fingers gripping the edge of the counter. His words were reckless, dangerous, but the way he said them, like a promise, not a joke, made your whole body shiver. "Jungkook," you whispered, unsure if it was protest or plea. But Jungkook's hands were already sliding up your collars as his thumb brushed against the corner of your mouth, his dare hanging heavy in the charged air between you. Your fingers trailed along the ink on his arm, following lines you'd memorized but never dared to ask about. It should have been casual. This was what your deal was, after all. No feelings, no strings, just the two of you losing yourselves in moments like these. But then he spoke. "Come over Sunday," Jungkook murmured, his voice rough from the night. You blinked, shifting to look at him. "Sunday?" His dark eyes met yours, steady and unflinching. "Movie night." You laughed softly, a little amused. "Since when do you have movie nights?" "Since now." He leaned forward, brushing his mouth against yours. "Just come. I'll pick the movie. You bring snacks." The way he said it, so effortlessly, like it wasn't a request but something natural, made your chest tighten. "Jungkook," you whispered, trying to remind yourself of the rules. Sunday night came faster than you expected. You stood in front of Jungkook's apartment door, balancing a bag of chips and a box of candy in your arms, your heart thudding harder than it should have for something that was supposed to be casual. You almost felt like a girlfriend showing up for a date, and that thought alone made you shake your head before knocking. The door opened almost instantly. Jungkook stood there in a black hoodie and sweats, hair damp like he had just come from a shower. His sharp eyes softened the moment they landed on you. "You're late," he muttered, though the corner of his lips curved up when he saw what you were carrying. "By like 5 minutes," you scoffed, brushing past him into the apartment. "And I brought snacks, so you're welcome." He closed the door behind you, watching you kick off your shoes before tossing yourself onto his couch. The TV was already on, paused on the opening credits of some thriller. "You chose a scary movie?" You frowned. "It's not scary." He dropped onto the couch beside you, his shoulder brushing yours. "It's intense." You rolled your eyes but settled in, tucking your legs under you. The movie started, the glow from the screen washing over the both of you. For a while, it was fine, normal even. You munched on chips, he stole your candy when you weren't looking, and you tried to ignore the way his thigh felt pressed against yours. The library was quieter than usual that afternoon, the hum of rain outside soft against the tall glass windows. You sat at a corner table, your open notebook filled with half-finished notes you hadn't been paying attention to. Instead, your mind was on him, Jungkook. You told yourself you wouldn't think about it, that you wouldn't let yourself slip past the boundaries of your deal, but the truth lingered anyway, creeping into your thoughts when you least expected it. You bit your lip, staring blankly at the ink on your page, heart pounding as you tried to reason with yourself. Feelings weren't part of the deal. He made that clear from the start. And yet, 𝐿. You jumped slightly, head snapping up. 𝐿 stood at the edge of your table, his hands shoved in his pockets, his hair falling into his eyes. He looked so out of place in the quiet library, too sharp, too commanding for the stillness around you. What are you doing here? You asked quickly, shoving your notebook close as if it would hide your guilty thoughts. Looking for you, he said simply. Your stomach twisted. Why? He glanced around, then leaned down close enough that you caught the huskiness of his voice. Because I need you. You blinked, heat rushing to your cheeks. Need me? For what? His smirk was small but dangerous, the kind that always unraveled you. You know what. His hand brushed against you on the table, deliberate, slow. I've got a need you're very good at helping me with. You stood in Jungkook's apartment, your heart hammering as you lit the last candle on the small cake you'd bought. The room was dim, the glow of the candles flickering against the sleek walls. It wasn't much, not compared to the expensive things Jungkook could buy himself, but it was yours, thoughtful, personal. You wanted to give him a memory before you ended it, before you walked away. The deal still had 2 weeks left, but you couldn't take it anymore. Every time he touched you, your heart fell deeper, and you knew staying would only break you. The sound of keys rattling at the door snapped you from your thoughts. You stood straighter, clutching the cake nervously as the door opened. Jungkook stepped inside, his hair damp from the night air, a hoodie hanging loose on his frame. He stopped cold when he saw you. His brows lifted in surprise. What's this? He asked slowly, eyes moving from the candles to you. You smiled nervously. Happy birthday, Jungkook. For a long moment, he just stared at you, his expression unreadable. Then, slowly, his lips curved into something softer than a smirk, something you hardly ever saw from him. "You remembered," he murmured, almost to himself. "Of course I did." He moved closer, his gaze fixed on yours, like you were the only thing in the room. When he leaned down to blow out the candles, his shoulder brushed yours, and you swear you felt your heart splinter. Because this was supposed to be the night, you ended it. But then he straightened, looking at you with something uncharacteristically warm in his eyes. "I was actually planning to surprise you tonight." You blinked. "Surprise me? It's your birthday." "I know," he said simply, his hand lifting to tuck a strand of hair behind your ear. "I wanted to." He shifted beside you, propping himself up on one elbow, his face unreadable. For a terrifying second, you thought he was going to say it, that this was crossing the line, that you both had to remember the rules. But instead, he reached over to the nightstand, pulled open the drawer, and took out a folded piece of paper, the one you both wrote months ago. "No feelings, no dating anyone else, just fun until the deal ends." Your stomach dropped. "Don't!" you whispered, heartbreaking already. His gaze locked with yours, dark, stormy, impossible to look away from. And then, without hesitation, he ripped the paper in half, then again, and again, until nothing but shredded pieces littered the floor. Your eyes widened. "Jungkook, what the hell are you doing?" Breathing heavily, he threw the scraps aside and leaned in, his voice rough and trembling with something he could no longer hide. "I can't do this anymore, you one. I can't keep you like this, holding you like this, and pretend I don't feel anything." Your lips parted, shock freezing you in place. "I love you," he admitted, the words spilling out like he'd been holding them back for too long. "I've been in love with you for months, and it's been killing me every time you smile at me like this is temporary, like I'm not already yours." The room went silent except for your uneven breaths. His hand came up, brushing against your cheek, his thumb catching the single tear that escaped your eye. "I know this wasn't part of the deal," he whispered, voice breaking, "but I don't want rules anymore. I just want you." I I don't know what to say," you whispered, voice trembling. Jungkook's jaw tightened like he was ready for rejection, but he stayed still, giving you the choice, giving you space, even as his chest rose and fell too fast. That's when the tears broke free. You threw yourself against him, burying your face in his shoulder, your body trembling. He stiffened at first, then instantly wrapped his arms around you, holding you tighter than he ever had before. "I'm so stupid," you sobbed into his skin. "I thought I was the only one falling. I was so scared. I didn't want to lose you." Hands up and down your back, soothing, grounding. His voice was low, shaky with emotion, but steady as he murmured, "You're not losing me. Not now, not ever." You pulled back just enough to see his face, your tears wetting his collar. His eyes searched yours with raw vulnerability, and you could see it, the truth he'd been hiding, the fear, the longing. "I love you, Jungkook," you admitted, finally letting the words free. "I've loved you for a while now. Every time you, me, it wasn't just physical for me. It was always more."